What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka Six8Jay, coming to you on this Saturday. It's noon, and we're a little bit late, but that's okay because our show is going to be great. Did that rhyme? I don't know. Let me stop. Good Lord, guys. The market right now, $1.67 trillion. Bitcoin right now, $43,728. We got Ethereum at $2,291. We've got Solana. Oh, my God. Solana. Oh, my goodness. Solana is back over $100. 103. If you don't got Solana, I don't know what you're doing, and that's not financial advice. Also, guys, since I made that statement, let me also say, my name is James, a.k.a. Six8Jay. For those of you guys that might just tune in that haven't been part of this show, this amazing Crypto for Life family. And I've been in crypto since 2017, documenting my journey in the evolution of money. But always remember that I am not yesterday, today, or tomorrow will I ever be a financial advisor. Okay, so just remember that, guys. We promote doing your own research on this channel. Now, I'm going to go back to what I said. If you don't got no damn Solana, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. That's not a financial, that's just facts. Solana, number 4, took over. BNB, took over. XRP, took over. USDC, at the number 4 spot. Good Lord, 103.44. Does it seem like yesterday to you guys that I just said, buy yourself some Solana? It dropped down to $8.50 when that whole FTX, FTT fiasco went down. It went down, and I was screaming from the mountaintop, hallelujah, buy Solana. Good Lord, let me stop. All right, guys, let me keep this going. We've got Cardano right now, that's 80 to be exact, at 60 cents. We got AVAX at 45.57. Dogecoin, that old crazy mutt, is at 9 cents. Polkadot coming in at 7.94. Sound like a discount. TRX is at 10 cents. Chainlink coming in at 15.63. Matic, 85 cents. Shiba, that old pooch, huh? Hanging out with Doge in the kennel? I don't know. It's at 4 zeros and a 1. We've got Atom at $11. ICP, you know Mike Owens like that one. Guess what? He's one of our special guests. We're going to bring him on in just a second. ICP, 9.20. We got Uniswap at 6.28. Stellar XLM at 12 cents. Good Lord, near. Can I make it clear? That is up 47.80% over the last week, 6% over the last 24 hours. It's on fire, 353. We got INJ. You know how we feel about that. Here's what I got to say, guys. Why in the hell are these coins up 35% for a week? but XRP is chilling, huh? We're going to get into that in a little bit. It's at $40 right now. We got OKB at $55. Optimism. I got a whole lot of it. That's why I'm holding on strong to my XRP. I got optimism. Will it make it? I don't know. Not financial advice, but damn it, I hope so. It's at $3.32 right now. We've got HBAR at 8 cents. We got APT coming in at 9.11. Uh-oh, 9.11. House hop. Oh, that was a horrific day. 9.11. And I only kind of, oh, God, I don't even want to bring that up because if I say it, I know it's going to cause some controversy. There's also another horrific day on that day, and I'm not going to speak about it. Filecoin, personal horrific day. Filecoin coming in at 5.47. We got Crow, if you didn't know, at 10 cents. VChain coming in at 3 cents. Caspa, good Lord, up another penny, 11 cents. Stack it up just like Tell Song. We play it here each and every day. We got MNT at 61 cents. Tia, because that's my auntie. I talked to her the other day. She said, "Mijo, you don't call me enough." I was like, "Tia, I'm investing in you." Let me stop. Algo is at 23 cents. We got RNDR at 4.97. We've got Arbitrum, that other layer 2, hasn't seen the bull run yet, 138. GRT coming in at number 48, right now 18 cents. The coin formerly known as EGLD, we call it Multiverse X. It's at 64.42. We got Aave coming in at 98.25. By the way, guys, my boy Chris Moore is going to be on here in a minute. He's running late. I got Mike Owens backstage. Mike Owens waiting for me to give him the signal. Oh, y'all in for a treat. One of the coolest brothers I know coming up soon. Get ready. Don't put no pressure on him because, I want him like freaking out on camera. That's my dude. We're going to keep it simple. Flow, if you didn't know, at 90 cents. FTT coming in at 6. I'm sorry. Good Lord. You said 6. I'm rich. FTT coming in at 367, 368. Nobody cares. I don't know why I even mention it. Who gives a damn? Do I? Nope. Do the people in prison? Maybe. If, what's his name? Sam Bankman-Fried dropped the soap. Let me stop. Bunk right now, that old crazy dog right now is at 4 zeros and a 1.8. We've got Theta, Kappa Sigma. Let me stop. It's at 113. Sandbox, that Metaverse coin, coming in at 53 cents. Ordi, 52.55. BTT still hanging in at number 64 in coin market cap. It's coming in at 5 zeros and a uno. If you don't know Spanish, that's 5 zeros and 1. Dang it. What is that thing called? Rosetta Stone? I need to take it. my Spanish is very small. Poquito. I remember when I was in Puerto Rico. And, I was like the dark child. Everybody else was like Latin. My mother looks like J-Lo. My dad looks like Puffy. So I was like the little dark kid. And all my friends would try to speak to me. I'm like, hey, Stop that Spaniel and talk to me in English. You know, my mom tried to get me to listen. I was just a bad kid. Good Lord, I was one of those Brooklyn bad kids. Neo, because of you, and it's all because. Let me stop. I can't sing. I know Mike's backstage laughing. That boy sound horrible, but I sound good in the shower, Mike. 14:03 right now. We got Mana right now at 51 cents. Luke coming in at 4. Oh, 3 zeros and a 1. Beam me up, Scotty. Beam at 1 cent. Might as well say 2 cents. What, 0.19? That's 2 cents. XTZ to OG coming in at 98 cents. What's up, Liz? Anthony, INJ Wanner. Ball or not? Lower level in the house. Huh? What's up, family? Appreciate y'all in a major way. Thank you for coming out. Nez Forrest, what's up, my brother? Hanging out with your boy James, a.k.a. Six8Jay, on your Saturday. But we got some special guests. Guess who we got? We're going to talk about it in a minute. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Hopefully y'all saw the thumbnail. IOTA right now is at 28 cents. We got Kava, hot like lava, 82 cents. Gala, make y'all want to holla if you got a lot of it. It's at 3 cents right now. Woo. That's what we're all saying when Gary Gensler comes around now. It's like, woo. Look at the top of his head. It's too shiny. Let me stop. Huckster, fraudster, trickster, con artist. You think I'm talking about Elizabeth Warren? I'm talking about both of them, her and Gary Gensler. Woo. That's how I feel every time I think about their names. Woo. They need to leave crypto alone. This is at 45 cents. Rove, that's Oasis Network, coming in at number 83 on CoinMarketCap. It's 11 cents. Cake. Remember that? Back in the club. Cake. Let me stop. 289. Sue, SUI, is at 72 cents. We've got XDC at 4 cents. We got Arweave. That's AR at 10.18. If you got any CRV, I know you might be excited. It's at 62 cents. 8coin, that old crazy monkey. It's at 169. Pepe, did you get rich? I know a lot of people did. Some people made I remember this one story, this guy made like 3-4 million, and he had to cash out like 600,000 and be okay with it. Because, you know, some of those meme coins, you got to be careful. They get you. You don't read the fine print. I'm a millionaire. Wait a minute. Can you just settle with this? And what you go do? Say no to 600,000? We got FET. That's AI. Now, if you guys, I'm telling you guys right now, what's coming up? AI and gaming. I'm thinking those are two big things that are going to be next. AI and gaming. You heard it right here. Crypto for Life with your boy James, a.k.a. Six8Jay. Luna coming in at number 100, and I don't really care. I don't really care. Oh, good Lord. Let me keep the thing going. All right. Refresh. Why does this thing keep saying that? Refresh. Am I live? I am live. Why is my Twitter tripping out? There you go. Guys, let me throw in a quote before I bring in my brother. Let me see how far Chris Moore is. Chris Moore said 30 minutes. That's about 12 minutes. That's about 18 minutes ago. Let me see Chris Moore. Okay, let me tell him we're waiting for him. Okay, we are on, my brother, waiting for you. So in Chris Moore's defense, when I put 12 Pacific Standard Time, I put 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, he's in Texas, so he assumed it was at 3, and it was actually at 2 his time, which is, you know, because Texas is I don't know what, I don't think Texas, what is that, like Central Time or something like that? Whatever it is. So he's like, give me a minute. I'm at the mall with the kids. And I was like, just go live. And he's like, not with my kids. All this, you know, got a lot of kids in the car. So I'm letting him get to the house. But before that, we're just going to bring in Mike anyway in just a second. But check this out first. It says, it's hard when you want to express what you feel inside, but all you can do is smile and say, never mind. You ever felt like that? Like someone smothered how you really feel, or maybe a situation you were intimidated, or you didn't speak your mind. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't got that problem. Mike Owens will tell you, I don't got that problem. Damn it, if I got something to say, I'm going to say it. Lord, it just keeps me stress-free that way, you know? If you get on my nerves, I'm going to tell you, hey, you get on my nerves, but I love you. Damn it, let me stop. All right, guys, without further ado, you know what? I think, did I post it? Right here. There you go. There's that special guest. Look at that. How to be a successful entrepreneur with special guests, businessmen, Mike Owens and Chris Moneyman Moore. Now, these guys, before I, bring Mike on, these guys both mean a lot to me in different ways. Mike Owens and I go way far back. I mean, way, way far back. Since I was like, 25, I think, or something like that. Something like that. He was like 27, I was 25, something like that, whatever it was. Like 25 years ago or so. Let's see, I'm 52, divided by, carry to 4, cross up, let me stop. about 25, 27 years ago. And, we met at a car auction. We were both young entrepreneurs, whippersnappers, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then me and Chris Moore go back probably 10 years, something like that. Maybe not quite that long. 8 years, 10 years, something like 8 years. We met while speaking and traveling the world on some of the biggest stages around the world. We met on the world's biggest cruise ship. And we became friends so fast that the next time we wound up connecting, I became his best man in his wedding. And so you guys have seen Chris Moore. You haven't seen Mike Owens. It's going to be great. But the reason that I invited these two brothers, because I want you guys to understand that being an entrepreneur for us started way before crypto, way before crypto. And these guys have done very, very well in their lives before crypto. And one of the reasons that I want to have this show today is just, what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? And I believe in my personal experience and journey, it starts with the mindset, right? And you'll hear these guys' story. We'll ask them a few questions that they know better than we know. So, and just, why they chose to be an entrepreneur, and then, why crypto now. And for those of you guys who are getting in crypto, that's something that, I always say, like, when you make money, you should be diversifying into other things, whether it's real estate, whether it's entrepreneurism, maybe starting a little business or something where you're able to, do something with your money. I don't think anyone should be Hail Mary into one thing. But I think for many of us, for many who have not been an entrepreneur previous, the things that you'll be able to do in your life moving forward with the gains and so forth that you get from crypto may allow you to do those things. So we're going to talk about that. What does it take and all those good things right now. So without any further ado, let me see what Chris said. Hold on, give me a second, guys. We're on, my brother, waiting for you. Okay, so this is about 20. So Chris should be on in about 10 minutes. So I'll start with Mike. We'll start with my brother, Mike. Mike O. Let me see if I can get him on right now. Mike Owens, you there, my brother? Mike Owens.
I am here. What's up? What's up, 6-8? How you doing, man?
What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there, man. Glad to do this for you.
Hey, man. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna talk about some things in the past. Before we even get into entrepreneurism, let's just start. Because I bring a lot of I don't know how many videos you've gone over and checked out, but for those of you guys who have not checked out our videos, I'm going to bring it up right now. This is our Crypto for Life page. You can go over there. You can see everything from today's interview, other interviews that I've had, and almost everybody, other than maybe presidential candidate Dr. Shiva, everybody I brought on my show has been some kind of friend or family or something to that extent. Not really. I don't think I've ever had a physical family member, but have to some degree been someone who means the world to me, or I've had some kind of relationship with. And I like doing that because it helps people kind of go back and know who you were before crypto, before this, before that, before the gray hairs, before, whatever. Let me stop. And so,
Right.
So Mike Owens, I want to talk about our, how we met, our relationship, before we can get into entrepreneurship. And it goes back, 25, 27 years ago. Now, we're not going to talk about all the stuff we did because we were some wild boys back in the day. We're young whippersnappers, man. But the thing is, we were to me, you were one of my best friends, and we hung out all the time. And you're just an amazing person, man. So for me, I'm just going to take a moment to kind of edify who you are so they know who you are. I've known Mike, again, 25 to 27 years. Good dude, great dude, even better friend. There's, he'll do anything he can do to get you the shirt off his back, whatever within means. Isn't afraid to share information with you. Just been a solid person, an amazing dad, an amazing husband. But kind of going back to when we were younger, man, it was just something that attracted me to you. And I think it was just the kind of dude you were, what you stood for. And I just appreciate you, man. I appreciate the time that we've known each other now. Life kind of takes you in separate ways. I remember,
Absolutely.
there's a moment where you met your wife, currently, and, you moved to Vegas, and, I wound up being all over the place traveling. So sometimes life takes you in different directions, but it's just amazing. And it's really exciting for me that it came back full circle. Not where we're trying to reach out, where we're right back in each other's lives, right back in the same city. We got so much in common, from family, kids, business, crypto, the love for cars, and all the things. So just talk about when we met, man, and how it's been knowing 6-8Jay or James, because that's who you know me by, James, aka 6-8Jay, all these years.
Well, I'm still getting used to the 6-8Jay, but I'll roll with that.
That's all right.
But yeah, one thing I can't tell you, I probably have told you this many times, but back when we did meet, I would say I really appreciate you coming up and speaking to me and saying hello and getting to know me, because you know my personality and you know who I am. If you didn't do that, I may have seen you around there for 5 or 10 years and we would have never known each other, because I'm just not the dude that's going to do that. So I really appreciate you stepping out and saying hello to me, and we've created this bond and this friendship that's lasted 20, you say 25, we can just knock it up to 30 if you want. It
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
even better. But it's been a great ride and a great journey. And yeah, of course, you've been doing things over the last
So,
few years
Mike,
that
I don't mean to cut you off. I want you to keep on, but kind of move closer to the mic. For some reason, I'm losing you. I don't know if it's your mic or try it again now. Okay, go ahead, buddy.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, but let me see. Is it me? Can you guys hear Mike okay, guys? Let me just make sure. Can you guys hear Mike okay? Go ahead, Mike. Let me see. Say something.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
here.
Now you're loud and clear. But
Testing 1, 2, 3.
there was some kind of static in there. But go ahead, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that it was a little gap, but the friendship has always been there, and I'm glad that we reconnected and we're hanging out every day here. I feel bad sometimes for even hanging out with you because sometimes I feel like I'm taking you away from your show. And that's definitely for the Crypto for Life family, that's definitely not something that I'm trying to do on purpose. So I apologize to you guys
No, not
for
at all.
that.
It's funny because when me and Mike started hanging, even before Mike started coming on the show, I would take gaps here and there. Sometimes I'd take a few days off. Sometimes I'd take a week off, and I think it's just healthy. And I think the family understands. I was part of another show where the guy was talking about the same thing. I've seen other people talk about. Being on YouTube or what have you, or being live, or being a YouTuber, social media guy, whatever you want to call it, for so many years straight. And that sometimes you got to take little moments, you got to take little breaks. What it does, and I think that comes with whether it's business, whether it's family, because how do you miss someone if you're around them all the time? And and it's funny because when I do come offline, there's that old sexy beast, Chris Moore. What's up? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you guys remember when? I don't know if you remember, Mike, when they had that show, Coming to America.
Oh yeah, I remember that show.
Remember, and they were all in the church, and they says, "Cinch's chocolate, welcome to the stage, Cinch's chocolate." They were talking about Chris Moore.
Joke stage name, okay? Just a joke stage name. All right. Short period of time in my life.
Is
this
my? It must be my mic because you guys sound amazing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. It must be my thing tripping out here. Good Lord. Can you guys hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Yeah.
Okay, you sound amazing,
yes, sir.
Chris. So I was talking about me and Mike's relationship. I just brought him on. How far we go back, and for those of you guys, I appreciate all the kind words, Mike. I want to go to Chris now. Before we start about any business, I met Mike in a car auction. I was a 25-year-old whippersnapper, fresh off of playing pro ball. Had a couple things I was doing, and I wanted to invest money in something. I got in the car business, and it was just guy. And Mike was kind of funny, Chris, because me and you are not this way. And maybe sometimes I don't think we're this way at all. I would say maybe if we don't know each other, but the funny thing about me and Chris is when we made eye contact, it was like some weird bromance from the get-go. But with Mike is a very quiet guy, but once he knows you, greatest guy on the planet. But if he doesn't know you, like he said, it might have been another 5 or 10 years before we actually connected. But with Chris, and I'm gonna go and kind of tell both your story. But with Chris, we were on the world's biggest cruise ship. We were both awarded that for being like top whatever it was in the company, top speaker, award-winning businesses and things that we did. And he was there with his wife, and I was there with my wife, and they had us sitting in this deal where. Some of the top people were there as well. It was all basically the top of the top, in what we did. And there was like these little booths that we were in, like these really nice little leather booths, I believe it was, something like that. And Chris and Paige were in a booth, and me and Jeanette were in a booth, and you couldn't help but look. I think Chris might have been in front of us some, but we looked over, or maybe they were behind us. But we looked over, saw them, and it was an instant connection. And we were been vibing since I think the very next trip. We got to know each other better. Maybe about a second or third trip that we took together, that we were around each other in that manner. I think it was, as a matter of fact, it was in Vegas. So there was some kind of event in Vegas, and I ended up being Chris's best man. They got married right there on the spot, and it was solid from day one. And it's crazy, man. When I think back about what we all have done since we've met, and we've got so much in common. We all, should I say, all three of us take pride in being fathers. That's the first thing, and I know that about both you guys.
Absolutely,
we take
number
pride.
one.
I mean, Mike and Chris, man, they I wouldn't say worship the ground, but it might. I mean, we just love our wives, man, and that's not something you find common with men, and not the fact that you don't find it common. Not a lot of times you find men that are openly say that, like how crazy, and we all three on separate, you know, like I be with Mike, I be with Chris. We all know that we wouldn't be half of who we are or where we're at today in life without them and their support holding us down. Straight up, because you know it takes a lot doing what we've done in our lives and be successful and things like that. So
Right.
I want you guys to talk about just really quickly as we're doing this, and I'll start with Chris, and that way Mike can segue into it. You know, just you know what got you to the point, because look, man, I was a knucklehead, Chris, with the best of them. You know, but there's a point in your life where family becomes the most important thing. What snapped in you, and when did that happen? When was that? Was it the first child? You know, when did you realize, my God, I married my queen, my dream? You know, when did that happen for you, Chris?
So for me, it happened. And you're talking about when like I feel like I'm a little bit autistic when it comes to certain things. I'm are you talking about when I embraced and really started, you know, cherishing being a father and a husband?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Let me put it this way. When did you realize how important your why was? And I'm gonna give you a moment to say that, and then I want to segue into Mike, because we got a lot to talk about. So just if you can give
100%.
me in a few minutes, why? When did you realize? Because you know, when we come up, let me make this a little easier. We come up, money is always the first motivation. Sports, you were a basketball hooper. I mean, Mike, you know, whatever, you know, we'll talk about your background, but there's always that thing that as men, we're driven for certain things, money, success, spotlight.
100%.
When did you realize that your why was the most important thing in the world to you, before we get started with everything else?
So when I would have to say, when I went on this other trip that was kind of like what me and you had went on, and it was for these achievers and everything, and it was I've never actually told you this. It's kind of crazy, but it was actually I was on this trip. I was seeing people. I felt like I was just kicking butt, and I hung the moon, and I was doing all this and that, and because I was the top for my real estate company and stuff, and I hardly knew anything, but I knew how to you know talk to people, and you don't have to be good at sales or anything when it comes to a house. They either want it or they don't, and I knew a lot of people, and so and I had good marketing and stuff, and so I was just killing in, and I didn't know, I took a lot for granted, and I went to this conference, and I saw people that were doing things at a big time level, at a complete different level. And it was all the power couples.
Wow.
It was all the power couples. And I realized that I was in a room, there was a gap, and I was in a room, and I was at the bottom of the gap, and I was by myself, and everybody at the top was there with a spouse.
Wow.
And so yeah. And so anyway, I realized I needed to, you know, I need to figure out how to do what I need to do in a big time way, because one of the first things that was said at the place was, who out here is selling like your business or selling, you know, they said, who out here is the primary person for like selling your business or something like that. And I was just kind of a one-man band. So I was kind of everything. And everything that they were saying that I needed, I had at home, but I didn't know how to lead my wife in a way to where she had anything to really follow. I was just ADHD and craziness mixed with a little bit of luck and a few dollars. Like there wasn't a method to my madness in a way that it needed to be for me to have a successful situation consistently. So you know, let's see here.
Now, Chris, I want to ask you this before you can continue. Were you I don't think I've ever asked you this. You weren't married previous, right?
I was married before. I was married for about 6 years before. That's the part I didn't tell you about the deal. I was at the conference, and I left from there, and you know, I ended up getting divorced within the next 6 months. But
here's the funny thing. As long as you and I have known each other, we don't talk about our exes. That's why I never asked you that question. I mean, and I know Mike a little bit differently because with Mike, he was with his ex, as was I, but we don't talk about that. And we're not going to talk about it on this show. All I'm talking about is from where we're at with the current people we are moving forward. So that why, not the why prior, because I don't want to bring up, you can say the wrong thing, doggone it, blah 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 blah. So I don't want to do that to anybody here. But what I do know is that I appreciate what I went through because it allowed me to be a better version of me for what I'm in now, if that makes sense. And that's just how we'll leave that. That's how we'll leave that, because I do want to get into so many other things. So so go ahead. I don't know if you were finishing up, Chris, about your why, but go ahead.
Well, that's how I, that right there shaped my mind for my wife, what I need, and that's how I'm with the wife that I'm with, because I knew what I needed, and I didn't have anything like that, and so but I could, and you know what, I did eventually, right? Because you attract what you are, and I found a better mirror image. She's definitely my better half, but so anyway, that's what led me to find the right person right there.
I love it.
My old high school sweetheart, isn't that something?
That's great. And I love the story, and there's a reason I'm asking you both this question. This question I'm gonna get into it in a second. Mike, your why, which is currently, which has always been your kids, but is currently your kids and your wife, and so explain to me, when that became the most important thing in you, your why.
My why. I'm trying to understand your question, but
let me ask you a little different. Your why. So when I always tell people, and this is the reason I'm asking you and Chris, is because I always say, in order to have tremendous success in life, we should always be led by something bigger than ourselves. And a lot of times that's our why. Your why could be your mother. It could be your father. It could be your children. It could be their future. The why meaning that something is bigger than you. Like, for an example, when I was coming in life, if I didn't have a why, Mike, I don't think I would have kept going, because I didn't have a big enough reason, right? So like when the doctor told me I was sick and I had cholesterol that could have caused me a stroke back in the day, my why, I started crying in the doctor's office, and I say that wholeheartedly. I literally got teary-eyed, because the first thing that came to my mind was my wife and kids, and I got emotional. Not because of what he said, because I thought, oh my God, am I going to do to my wife and kids what my dad did to us? Are you serious right now?
Wow.
And so my why is so profound that I can't quit. I can't stop. I have to, that's why I don't play with nothing. I don't play with crypto. I don't play with business. I don't play with my relationships with you guys, because my why is so big. You guys are part of my why. My family is my why. My friends are my why. And so that's why I do this show, because the Crypto for Life family is part of my why. It's the reason. It's why I get up. It's why I talk about and why I'm always keeping it 100 and those things like that. So just express to me when you were so focused, like when you became like super focused on your why, and it could have been a year from now, 5 years from now, when you met your current wife, it doesn't matter. When were you just locked in solid focus of, hey, my family or this thing, whatever it is why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm
interesting. Well, mine actually started when I was real young. My dad was a musician, and the life of a musician is up and down, very sporadic, a lot of traveling. Luckily, I was raised in a two-parent household. My mom was there, but since my dad was a musician, my mom was basically the foundation, the provider for the family, while my dad went out and experienced his dream. Unfortunately, that comes with good and bad. I saw somebody that was a big dreamer, and I saw the realities of actual life. And during the course of that, my mom would vent her frustrations sometimes about how tough things are, and if your dad just did this or got a regular job or came home and did this and that, then we'd be in a better position. Well, from my perspective, look, my dad was happy, and my mom was struggling, and I had to try to understand the dynamics between that. But one thing that I knew from that experience is I never wanted to be in a situation where someone said that I'm not in the position to provide. So once my daughter came along and I found out that my ex-wife, which we don't talk about, of course, she said we don't talk about that she was pregnant, then I knew that I had to buckle down and get serious, extremely serious about life, because I was not going to put myself in a situation where anyone ever said that I'm not meeting my obligations and what I'm expected to do. So that's my why. It's legacy for my family and to provide. That's my why, is to be a provider to my family.
What's so crazy, dope about that, and I remember you shared this with me. This is like a few days ago, I think. You shared this with me, and we were talking about your dad and being a musician and how that played, in your household. And I'm so glad you brought that up. But that last statement that you made, I said, Mike, what's driven you over all these years? Because we both started in an industry that you never let go. And that industry has made you a self-made man, right? And I won't get into the specific, but a self-made man. And I was asking you about your drive, and when you got through with that story, that was so profound of what you said. I never wanted to be the kind of person like how my mom looked at my dad, that I wasn't a provider. Like if I want to go do things, I've created enough, whatever that is. I've created enough success that no one has to validate that or invalidate that I'm not worthy or something like that. And it's just amazing how something like that will impact you. Because for me, Chris, and I want you to go this route as well, Chris. I don't know about your parents, and then we need to segue right into the topic, which is entrepreneurship. And I think this is so important because.
Hey, Jim,
yeah, go ahead.
can I just cut you off for 1 second?
Yeah, go
Because
ahead,
this may be something my parents watch one day. They love each other and they've had a great life. I just don't want to seem like, they were at odds or anything
No,
like that. I just
no.
saw
Yeah.
the extremes of the
Right.
scenarios. So it helped develop my why. But,
Exactly.
I admire and appreciate both of them the same.
Absolutely. And it's funny because both my parents are not here, but for many, 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 many years, I was angry, belligerently angry at my dad for leaving my mom and leaving us as a kid. I was just mad. I said, how could you do that? I was just angry. I was pissed. I was mad. Now don't get me wrong. My dad was a Rolling Stone. My dad was, out there doing a lot of things. It wasn't until I got older myself and I went through a divorce, I realized, you know what? I was mad for all the wrong reasons, because who am I to judge? I don't know what that situation was. I don't know, what that thing was. So as you get older, you obviously mature. You start to understand things a little bit differently than when you were younger. But the takeaway from my dad, like you had a takeaway from your dad, it was a beautiful thing, because again, like you said, it wasn't a bad thing. They just taught you something, values and certain things that resonated into who you are now. And I want Chris to segue into this, but for my dad, one of the biggest pains for me was that he was not there. And I even stayed in my relationship way too long with my ex, way too long, because I didn't want somebody else being there for my kids, because my stepdad was abusive. Our stepdad beat us. At 13 years old, I had to figure out how to fight him on my own. I had to do some things like that in order to protect myself and my mom. But the reason I'm bringing all that up is it really played a big part of the type of relationship that I want to have with my kids, and that I have with my kids, and the type of father that I ended up being and that I am because of that such a scenario.
Absolutely.
So I definitely appreciate your story, Chris.
Yeah. Okay. So in that aspect, that's I it had to be when I had my first child too, because that was it was big for me. Like I was like, man, this is, I was dead broke before that, and it did not matter. I didn't care. I spent my money and my homie's money on a stereo system. Okay. And I'm like, for my car, I didn't care about nothing. And then I ended up having that little girl, and she needed something. And I didn't have, and I had to check I had to move something over at the register at Walmart, right, to just get like formula and a couple things. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous.
Wow.
This is I was really, really ashamed of myself at that time, and I was like, man, this ain't it. This ain't it right here. And so I realized I had to do more. I had to be more, and that eventually led me to getting out of the Air Force, and then starting my own businesses and all.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So now there goes the foundation. That to me is the core of what drives us, is our why. That's why I asked you guys that question. There's a reason. There's a reason for all things that I ask. So
100%.
So that why, that thing that whatever drove us to be great men, great fathers, and hey, none of us were perfect, but we're here and we're doing what we need to be doing. Okay, so at what point from that struggle, Chris, or from your humble beginnings, Mike, because I know your humble beginnings, and even my humble beginnings, what would you guys say was that thing that made you want to become an entrepreneur? For me, I'm gonna be very brief because I know we got a lot to talk about still. When I was coming up, I got through playing ball. I came back. I took a break. Some things happened with early on where there was like miscarriage and stuff. I won't get too much into that, but basically, I took some time. I said, okay, let me take time off before I go back overseas to Puerto Rico. In that time, I realized we had a situation where I lost some money. We had a place that wound up burning down. But a bunch of crap happened. Make a long story short, I had to make a decision. I'm going to go back to play ball. I'm going to get a job, which during the time the season wasn't around. Right, the season wasn't happening for like several months out. So I said, okay, I need to earn some money because the money the stuff that I got being young, I just blew that money. It was a little bit of money anyway playing overseas, and so I tried to get a job for a while, and I realized really quickly that I didn't like waking up when someone told me I had to be to work at 8. I didn't like going to lunch at noon if that was lunchtime. What if I'm not damn hungry at noon? I don't want to eat at damn noon. How you going to tell me to go to lunch at noon and then get off at 5? What if I want to get off at 2? Damn it. So I realized quickly that I was not built for a job, and a job was not built for me. I didn't have the personality type to be told what to do. I wanted to own my own time. I didn't like, just all those things. And so that led me into saying, you know what? Let me figure something out. And the next thing you know, I met up with a guy who just really quickly asked me to coach his son in basketball. He owned a tow truck company in Fresno, Mike.
Oh, wow, wow. Okay.
One of the nicest tow truck companies out there. When I went out there and I would go to his office to go pick up my money, I said, man, I see you got these cars. What are you doing? He goes, we sell them. I said, well, do you mind if I get one? He said, you can buy as many as you want. I said, really? And so I got a car. I remember it was like an old 1980-something Cadillac. I went down to Pet Boys, put some Armor All on it, shined it up. I bought it for like, I don't know, he sold it to me for like $300, and I wound up selling it for like $1,000. I said, ooh, I got something here. Went and got another car. It was like a 1990-something, one of those Nissan 240SXs. I went down and got some. I had the turtle wax already from in the Armor All from Pet Boys. I shined it up. Bought it for $700, sold it for $2,500, and I said, okay, damn it, I'm onto something. And that started a detail shop. That started a car lot. That started 27 or whatever it's been years of entrepreneurship for me. And I would just tell you that it's nothing like it. A lot of people think it's easy. It's not. When you own your own business, a lot of times it owns you. You guys are all business owners, from Chris owning gyms to Mike, you owning car lots. To this day, you still got several car lots and you used to own furniture stores. It's work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. To be an entrepreneur, to own my own time and do what I want to do, it's priceless. And obviously, I won't get too much of my story because I've shared my story. But so Mike, what was that moment for you that you went from being a struggling person to an entrepreneur that led you into? Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me go to Chris, and then we'll because I know some people have heard Chris' story. Let me go to Chris first. Chris, what made you go from that struggling person that was in Walmart putting certain things? You might have had a bag of Doritos and a Pepsi. So I got to go get formula. What took you from that position of moving stuff out of because look, we've all been there. My mama used to have to make decisions at the register. I know.
100%.
I used to have to make a decision when I was, so I get it. What took you from that point to saying, man, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur, because I do believe it has to do with, number one, identifying your why, and number two, it's a certain mindset. What was your first entrepreneur experience? And even to this day, you run a company that deals with multi-million-dollar lighting and stuff like that. Like some of these things you tell me about, I'm like, holy, you're like, oh, I got this contract, could be worth $80 million. I'm like, what? So just talk about your journey and why you still on that journey, why you don't go out and get a job. I'm sure it'd be a lot easier sometimes, right?
Yeah. Anything, but a couple of different things. All right. For one is it's something made an impression on me and I forgot about it, or sometimes life kind of get in the way, right? And then you remember that, that seed that was planted that grows to a redwood tree later, right? And so mine is a little bit of a weird one, honestly. It started when I was 13 years old, and we were living in a trailer house, like in the hood, man. And these white Mormon dudes come knocking at the house behind our house. And for some reason, my mom said, yeah, y'all can come in, because they were knocking. We said, hey, those people don't live there no more. And and they're like, well, how about we give you guys some discussions? And my mom.
So your mama wasn't
Yep.
like, your mama wasn't, y'all didn't do them like Ice Cube and Friday where y'all slammed the door or anything. That's funny. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, bro. I just knew she was gonna be like, no, we're not interested. And she was like, yeah, come on in. And I was like, all right. And they gave us these discussions and everything else. And then the next week, these guys, they already knew what could get me, man. They showed up to the house with a basketball and said they were ready to take me to an indoor court. And I was like,
wow.
I didn't know every Mormon church had a basketball court inside.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And then I went there. I went there and my mind was 100% blown.
Really?
I realized real quick, oh, dude, second richest religion in the world. They got one of the most prominent business schools anywhere.
Wow.
First time I ever seen Success Magazine. The guy that invited me to play basketball was on the cover of it.
Wow.
I'd never even seen anything. I remember we were looking at cars, V8. I'd never seen nothing past the V8. This dude had a black V12 car in his driveway. I was like, I saw him bring it to church sometime. I'm like, man, I don't even. And they treat us like, we were like the only black family in there, bro. But they were sweet. They were nice to us. We go to people's houses and stuff. Everybody owned businesses. It was typical. Right. They taught business to their kids. It was like I was in Elon Musk house or something. Like it was like I was I just saw things at a complete different level.
From what you were used to.
And it went from, hey, you can be successful,
right,
to, hey, the expectation for all my kids is to be successful.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right. And I just saw the real results of people putting in their hard work and what they had for it. And I was like, man, I could have so much more than what I have. I can really help my family the way I want to.
Now I want you to pause for a second, because you just said something that reminded me of a conversation I think me and Mike had yesterday. We were driving from we were running around doing some business stuff and here in Vegas, and I shared with him, and I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, Chris. I might have. And I'm almost positive I have. When I was younger, maybe 12 or 11, my dad, because he lived a great life. We lived poor in the hood on food stamps. So when I went to California with my mom, we were in the hood, welfare, government cheese, hood. And when I went with my dad, he had this lifestyle because he was a car guy, which is kind of ironic. He ran car lots, which is just freaking ridiculous. When you think about the impact. No, seriously, because he ran car lots and he was a head manager at a car lot. So I would get in and I would go as a young man and I would get into trade-ins. They would bring in trade-ins and I would crank them up and move them back and forth. And I thought I was doing something. And I was just always around his car lot. And it's just weird how that later on played out in my life. And then I've told Mike, I remember him taking me to an Amway convention. And,
right.
And I was like 11, 12 years old. He took me to the Amway convention. And this is when I would go visit him, right? Because I would feel guilty staying with him because he had a cool lifestyle. So I would go back to the hood because that's where my brothers and sisters were. And I just felt like, why did I deserve more if they didn't? And I was the only kid that he would get, even though we all had the same mom and dad. I'm junior, so I don't know why that played that way or whatever. But I would feel guilty. I would go to his house. It'd be pools and jacuzzis, and when he would go to these speaking events, I would go tour the White House with Nancy Reagan and Ronald Reagan, like stuff like that I saw. That I had a moped, I had an Atari. When that would be like having a brand new PlayStation 5, But then I would feel bad because I know so I would get back, and that's why I went to 5 high schools, because I would start with him. I was like, no, Dad, I want to go back to my mom because I felt guilty. I was like, no, I need to be in the hood if that's where my brothers and sisters are at. And I don't think I've ever shared that story with you guys, but one of the places that he took me to was Amway meetings. He was big in Amway, and I remember going there, and it was this big old convention hall, Chris, and these people get on, I want to be rich, and they would be dancing on stage, getting $100,000 checks, rings and jewelry, and the stuff that we've seen later on as adults. And I remember sitting there as a kid, like with goosebumps, going, oh my God, what did these people do to be in this position? And I just I remember it on my kids like it was. I don't remember a lot of stuff, but I remember the feeling, that moment that I said, I don't know how my future is going to be, but I know I'm going to do that. And so between the car lot experience of jumping in those trade-ins to my dad taking me to that convention, I ended up owning several car lots. I own cell phone stores. I've been in business for 20. I've owned a semi-pro team. I've done all these things, and I became a speaker in the same industry that to the point that before he died, he said, "Son," and I'll share this with Mike too. He goes, "You've accomplished things I've only dreamed about. I've never been in magazines. I've never done this. So even though he was great, he never really got to love. So it just, I say all that to say this as you guys answer this next question. Would you guys agree that the things that that we subject our kids to have a profound impact on their life? Because Mike, you saw some things. Chris, you saw some things. I saw some things, and it just tremendously impacted my life as an entrepreneur. And I say that because not only do I want you guys to talk from the position of what made you become an entrepreneur, but how important is that to funnel that over to our kids? And me and Mike and you all talk about, when I look at my kids right now and all the great things they're doing, it's because I implemented all those principles, all those things that I learned coming up and what to do and what not to do into my children. And so it's not by accident they're all winning in a major way, right? Whether it's life, whether it's grades, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's not being pregnant, whether it's having credit score, whatever the thing is, it's very impactful of what you not only do as a person, but what you also show your kids. I don't keep being afraid. Just a lot of stuff that is very important, the things that we show our kids. So I'm gonna start with Mike. Who do I went with last time? Was it Chris? So I'm gonna start with Mike on this one, and then Chris, I want you to take in segue right after that. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, James, like you're saying, and one thing that I'm noticing in the conversation we're having is the common denominator here seems to be exposure. I mean, Chris was exposed to his situation when he was young, which changed his life. You were exposed to what your dad exposed you to, and of course, my situation is going to be similar, where I was exposed to something that made a big impact in my life. I remember being about, it sounds like we were all impacted about the same age, 10 or 11. I remember a friend of mine that was in a little bit less fortunate situation than me. He asked me to go make some money with him, and I didn't really know what he meant, but he had this thing that he did where he would go to the local grocery store, and they had bars wrapped around because it was kind of a rough area. They had bars wrapped around the whole grocery store where if you came out with your groceries, you couldn't even push your cart out into the parking lot to put your groceries in the car.
Right.
So I went out there with him one day, and he would just ask people one-on-one, "Excuse me, ma'am, is it okay to help you with your groceries?" And they sure, honey, 10-year-old, help them with their groceries out to the car. He'd get 50 cents or he'd get a quarter. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, I had no concept of how to make money or anything like that.
That's the first time I've ever heard that someone ever done that. That's crazy.
And I was up at that grocery store every chance that I get, just helping people take their groceries from point A to point B. Getting 25 cents here, getting $1 here. But it taught me that, hey, I can earn my own way.
Right.
So as I got older, honestly, James, I really didn't think I would ever be the best candidate for a job. I was kind of like an undiagnosed dyslexic type person. Not that I'm not a bright guy or anything like that. It's just that, and I'm a quiet guy. I just didn't think that, once I go out and try to apply for jobs and try to be the best candidate, that they're gonna see how good of a person or how great I could be for the potential job that they might have. So I knew I may have to figure out something on my own. In addition to that, when I was in school, man, I just didn't understand how, and I don't mean to offend anybody, I'm just telling my truth. I didn't understand how a teacher mathematically that's making 25, 35, 40 grand is going to teach me how to get me to the situation that I actually wanted to be in, because I knew that I always wanted to be extremely successful. So that combination of learning that you can do things on your own, with the mathematics of how can someone teach you to get to a certain level that hasn't been on that level, I think that those things helped me to understand that business was going to be the route I took.
Yeah, and
So
as I go into Chris, it's funny. I want to make a comment about what you said. When you say dyslexic and all those type of things. I always tell people all the time. I used to get on stage, and I know Chris has probably heard this more than one time when I said, sometimes you might hear me talk a little Ebonics, sometimes you may hear me stutter, but I'm really good at cashing checks. Remember that, Chris? That was one of my.
Yeah. I like that.
And with Mike, Mike is, for those of you guys, I got another buddy named John Haywood, and John Haywood, man, computers was the best thing that ever happened to him, because he started this business transporting kids around the world, and he would always use this program to check his spelling. And I remember one time I was looking at some stuff that he had wrote down, and I'm talking about, if you judge him off his spelling, oh my God, you'd be like, oh hell no, who the hell is this guy? But to this day, he runs a multi-million-dollar business. I mean, years ago, he was living next to Dennis Rodman and these guys in L.A. And I mean, you would think the guy was a professional NBA basketball player. And even, to your credit, Mike, having several businesses here in Vegas and California currently, and being self-made, made millions of dollars. Chris, you're someone who's very humble as well. Mike is super humble. Like, Mike is like me. I wear sweats all the time. If you see me and Mike out and about, you probably wouldn't look at us twice. And you would never think that we were both self-made in what we've done. Chris also is someone that every time I talk to Chris, he's got this new deal going on with a government project or this project. I mean, talk about what Mike talked about, and then I want you guys to talk about how'd you go from zero to dealing with multiples of millions of dollars in the businesses that you do and things like that, and how do you handle that? How do you stay on top of that? How do you stay humble, right? Because I know you guys, neither one of y'all are flashy. I mean, neither. I'm not either. I mean, we like nice homes. We'll have an average car, a decent car at best. But we're not out there driving Lambos and the stuff that Bentleys and stuff we could be driving, right? And so just, Chris, kind of talk about your humbleness, kind of what Mike was talking about, and yeah, just take it from there.
100%. So, like, you'll humble yourself, or life will humble you. You know what I mean? Like, I've had moments and situations in business that's brought me to my knees. Every time I got, like, my dad, I'm pretty daggone country, right? Like, how I was raised, we were raised baling hay, selling cows, right? Like, almost every lesson I've learned was on the tailgate of a pickup truck when dad comes back for lunch. You know what I'm saying? We've had machetes, we're chopping mesquite trees. Jeez. So they're not cutting up. We have a ton of cows. And so we always maintained our cows and stuff. And we get calls 2 a.m, your cows are out, or your bull broke the fence, or so whatever.
You guys are country.
Bruh, country and heck, man, I'm telling you right now. So my dad got sicker than I don't know what, man. Integrity was something that, my company, like, somebody lied to my dad one time and sold him bad hay, and it started getting our cows sick.
Really?
And then my dad burned the hay. He burned the hay, and he was downwind of the hay. He breathed it in and got sick and almost died.
What?
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So that hit me because it was a tough winter. Dad wasn't doing well. Right. Christmas was different and stuff. I realized how, all the stuff he had to do to kind of make things happen. And I also understood how important integrity is. Right. And, my company right now is called Integrity LED, right? And it's not just a name.
Right.
It's for that. It's like, you lying can it could be a life or death situation for somebody else. And as exaggerative as it is, it's that serious, right? Because
that's right.
Like you, I got 5 midgets, 5 kids, right? 2 17-year-old daughters. And it's like having 3 wives. You know what I mean? They let me know what's up, right? And I love setting a good example for them, and they see me do the right thing, and a lot of things we were talking about earlier, Mike. I appreciate your story, because you hit me with something, because it's like, there's never one thing that ever happens to us. It's kind of like that story where the people are drowning or whatever else, right? And then the boat comes by and they're like, "Hey, go ahead, God's gonna save me," right? And then gets to the second level, plane comes by, "Go ahead, God's gonna save me." And the next thing you know, they're just about to drown. They're at the tippy top, and the helicopter comes. Nope, God's gonna save me. And then they drown and go to God and, "Hey, why do you save me? I sent you the boat, I sent you the plane, I sent you the helicopter. Save yourself," right? Like, but so it's so there was a bunch of different things. You know what I mean? Mike, you said it perfectly too when you spoke of exposure, right?
Right,
There's
right,
exposure and there's exposure, there's impact, and then there's inspiration or desperation, the two strongest motivators, right? You're going to be inspired to do something great, or you're going to get so desperate that you almost have to, right? And so
right.
a bunch of little things. So when your guy told you, hey, you're going to let's go make some money, man, I thought you were going to say that he's going to show you, hey, man, let's deal drugs or something. You know what I mean? Because
but isn't that crazy? But isn't that crazy how?
I'm glad that wasn't the
But I'm
example.
glad you said that, Chris, because isn't that crazy how that's and we've been trained to think that, but isn't it crazy how society, if you had 100 people hear Mike start that conversation, the first thing you were thinking was New Jack City. You would have never thought.
Yeah,
You would have never
100%.
thought. You'd have never thought that brother was going to say,
Oh, man,
Sweet
that's
little
funny.
kids helping people with groceries.
and there goes the difference. You know, not
I
being
kept
judged.
I kept it rated G, huh?
No.
Yeah.
The point I'm making. So, but here's what I want you guys to do
Yeah.
now, because we're almost an hour right now. I want you guys to both take this subject and do this. The title of this thumbnail or this and shouts out. I know a lot of people are saying hello, everyone. Nesforce, Liz, hello. My mother-in-law Janet Lopez. I know she said she's going back into work. What's up, Gmail Brown? Quintessential One. Miss J Kills in the house. What's up, Miss J Kills? Mr. J Kills. What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys. Anthony INJ Wanner. We got my sister Liz. We got Bullish Big D. We got who else? We got C-Kaz in the house. What's up, C-Kaz? We got Nesforce. We got Andrew T. We've got OMC. Did I get everybody? We got Ball or Not. We got Lower Level. Welcome. The greatest way to start your day is with the Crypto for Life family. So I want you guys to go in and talk about what the title is. How to become. I know what you guys have done. I know what I've done. But how to become. What does it take to become an entrepreneur? It's one thing to say, well, I've done this and I've done that and I've made millions. And
Yeah.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's great. That's great.
Right.
But what in the hell, which is why I asked the first question, the why, that you always got to have the foundation. But then what was the next step that you got off your hind pock, a.k.a. your ass? Because a lot of us, we talk about it. We a lot of us don't be about it. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. What was some of the things that you did, the tools or whatever you want to call it, or was it just really, because for me, I always say I was just too stupid to know I couldn't make it in anything that I did, right? They was like, you're gonna be a car dealer in Fresno, Mike. When we were car dealers, it wasn't very many African Americans doing that at that time.
That was wasn't it against the law, James?
It damn near felt like it was
Might have been
against
against the law. We just didn't realize it.
No, sir, I can almost name it. It was me in the beginning. It was me, you, our boy Victor Akanami, and it was two other brothers that used to play for the Boston Celtics. I don't know if you remember them, and the Chicago Bulls. They were older guys, the Pondexter brothers, whose son Quincy Pondexter just left the NBA. So it's the two.
Well, I didn't know him, James, because if you didn't talk to me, I wouldn't have known nobody.
Yeah,
but no, I didn't know about them.
It was literally the five of us at that time, and you're talking about hundreds of guys that would come through that place.
Right.
So
might have been four of y'all, bro. You said Pokanami or something like that, bro. I don't know all about that, but I can tell you right now, the origin ain't black. All right, like I don't know if he came straight from Nigeria or something, but
no, Victor was, Victor was, he was one of those brothers, man. He was one of those original. I don't know what country, but he was definitely one of those rooted African brothers. But
yeah.
But anyways, I want you guys to talk about what steps did you take. Not a bunch of because here we keep it 100. Like, what was the first thing you did? How did you do it? Was it picking up a damn newspaper route? Did you go from asking people to carry their groceries to open up a grocery store? What was your first business? How did you do it?
Okay.
And what mindset and what obstacles? Because I don't want to hear it was all great, because I've been in business and damn it, I done fell 2 or 3 or 4 times on my ass before I made it to where I'm at. So I want you guys to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Go ahead, Mike. I'll let you start. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you said it right there. You mentioned mindset. That's the thing is when you're first starting out, you have no idea what to do or how to do it, where to go, who to talk to. You don't know anything.
That's right.
So I'll take it back to me trying to figure that out. The first thing that I did, I heard on the radio there was a seminar. A guy was having a real estate seminar. It's that type they used to have all the time where you go and it's a big rah-rah thing
like a Russ Whitney or some weird junk like that. I got you. Yes.
Right, but they're all selling their systems, their books and tapes and things like that. So I went because I was going to learn how to do real estate. I needed to learn how to do something.
Right.
And when I got there, it was amazing and everybody was motivating, but I saw all the the table set up in the back. Obviously, whatever we're looking at here, we're going to end up having to go back there and break out the credit cards or cash or whatever the situation was, which I didn't have at the time.
Right.
And I remember that a big real estate mogul came on. I'll never forget his name because it had a big impact on me. Dante Perrano.
Okay.
He was a big real estate mogul. And he gave his whole spiel of how he got started and how he ended up getting streets named after him and, making millions of dollars in real estate. And it sounded good to me, but I still wasn't going to be able to afford his system, which is $5,000 at the time. But he did say this. He said, he was just honest. He said there's some people in here that won't be able to afford this. But I'll tell you where I started. He said I went out and I read this book called Think and Grow Rich, and he said that in itself changed my life. It completely changed my life. And I said, okay, I can't afford this system, but I can afford that book. And I said, and if this guy feels so passionately and strong about this particular book, and he's on stage and he's the millionaire and he's the one giving the advice, the best I can do is listen. So I went out and found that book, and fortunately I was able to find a version that was called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, which was modified. All the examples in the book were Black people. Right. So I could relate to it a little bit better because I'm like, oh, that was easy for him, but he had this advantage. That was easy for her, but she came from money and things like that. So there's no real difference between the two examples. It's just that I was able to take the examples from the book because most of the people came from nothing and apply it to my life. And one common denominator in the book that I realized is you just have to keep pushing forward. The people that because I wasn't a very good reader, it was painful read because I'm reading, I forget what I read 2 pages before I read on, I forget the chapter that I read, but then I start to realize that all these people were going through struggles, and one thing that they all did is kept pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. That's right. And one of the examples in the books, and one of the things I do remember reading, that is, if you work harder than 100% of the people that for 2 years of your life, you'll live better than 90% of the people for the rest of your life. Wow. I said, I can do that. So, James, I've always been grinding, and I just I worked my ass off for 2 years. Didn't see an immediate change, but what I realized from that is once you work for 2 years, it's harder than most people that because I can't say I worked harder than everybody. Then you develop habits that other people don't have, and you're used to the grind, you're used to the struggle, you're used to the sacrifice, you're used to all these things that other people aren't willing to give up because you're in this grind mode that you continue to have over the years, and those habits are what creates the success. That's right. Because 90% of the success is built on the failures that you accumulate. That's right. So one thing that I'll say, and I have never heard anybody else say it, but failure is like my best friend. Right. I mean, it's something that's there that I can rely on when things get tough and everybody else doesn't come around anymore because you don't have this, you don't have that, people are doubting you. Failure's there to remind you, man, you got to get up, you got to do better, you got to figure this out. So I don't like to hang out with failure. Right. But I do appreciate the lessons that failures taught me. Man, that's bars. I love it. No, that's dope. And you couldn't have put that any better. And one of the things that you talked about is how you went and got that Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sorry, the Think and Grow Rich. I read that one too. That related to you. And the reason that I say that is because it's one of the things that me and Chris did in our business. And I'm gonna turn it over to Chris now. But relatability is really big because even when me and Chris were out there speaking and we traveled the world, it's what made us so unique is that we didn't talk. We didn't talk at people. We talked to people. We didn't talk from a place that we were on a mountaintop. We said we're just like you, and I think that's what made us so impactful in the things that we did because we were authentically us, and we didn't try anybody else. There was enough people out there showing checks and rings and all those stuff, and even though we had those things, it didn't motivate us because we came from nothing. So when we were talking to people who had nothing, we had a different conversation than those who never experienced that. So relatability is a huge thing, and I appreciate your stories. Huge. Chris, go ahead, buddy.
Absolutely. And cycling too is a big thing for me. Like, and to explain that, if you made a little bit of money and there you go, or if you got it from dad, or mama or whatever, that's great. But if you haven't made it yourself, you aren't self-made, you made it, you lost it, and then you made it again. Same industry, other industry, whatever. But if you've shown that you yourself, right, can make that happen, and you have that kind of a mindset, then in our business circles, we generally don't trust anybody unless you've cycled at least twice, right? And I learned that from my guy that was my mentor, that was in the church, that owned all the dealerships. He was really my start when I started doing commercial LED lighting, because he let me do his car dealerships. We did all the studies on what that does to cars and what LEDs look like, how it's popping at night, and that's how people decide what they want. Or what he helped me out with that. When I was, every time I was ready to upgrade and get something nicer and better as far as a vehicle or something, he told me go on the car lot, go pick it out and go drive it for a week or so. Come back and let me know if you want to buy it or not. And oh yeah, he was so cool. I literally had a car for almost a month, and he called me up and said, "Hey man, you want to buy that thing or what?" And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do that." Like, one of the coolest people ever, and he just always knew it. What I was saying earlier, and this, I got a few different things here. Like when you were doing the groceries, Mike, as a kid, that reminded me, in sixth grade, I really got started when I brought a whole bunch of candy from Halloween to school, and the one bully in the room, came up. He know I don't like it, right? Like I stood up for somebody else in front of him, and I was hoping he wasn't going to do nothing, right? And he's like, I don't feel like messing with both of y'all or whatever. But I didn't like this dude, and he come up to me and he's like, "Hey, I know you don't like me, but I'm hungry, and you got some candy. Here's $1. What can I get?" Right? And I got my wheels turning right there. You know what I mean?
So the bully walked up to you and said, "You got candy. How much can I get for $1?"
He said, "I know you don't like me, but you got candy. I got $1 and I'm hungry. What can I get?"
Now let me ask you this: how old were you?
Sixth grade.
Now, it's so funny because in 7th, 8th grade, you guys ever remember the kids that would go to school and sell bubblegum balls for like a quarter? Or cinnamon. We would go dip toothpicks in cinnamon and go back and sell them. It was like a cinnamon toothpick thing or whatever. I did that. I did that in junior high school. I would go to the store and buy $1.25 bubblegum balls, but then I would go to the store. You get like about 10 bubblegum balls, and I would go to the store. I would go to school and sell them for 25 cents each. But go ahead, man. That's so funny you said that. Brought up
man. Oh yeah. So it let me know. Hey, I can do this. I can start slinging some stuff, man. My dad started taking me to Sam's Club, and I never went another day without selling candy till I graduated high school. That was senior year on. At a couple of different times, Omega yo-yos ended up getting hot while we were there. So I was slinging the heck out of some Omega yo-yos too, but I never stopped my candy. And then one day I got asked to come to the principal's office, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I saw that one word, solicitation. I'm like, what the? And they were like, "Yeah, you're soliciting on school grounds. We're not gonna, you can't." I was like, all right, I don't know what that word is, but I didn't do it. You know what I mean? And
they were hating on your business.
Dude, they were hating, and I'm gonna tell you something. It was when Mike, at the moment, I felt more introverted than you. I almost had I remember that the principal, he likes a Kit Kat and a Snicker. I grabbed a Kit Kat, a Snicker, and I put it on his desk, and I walked out. And it was like I had a little social anxiety. Like it was just too much on me. I'm like, I gave him candy, and I put it on his desk, and I walked out.
Wow.
And I thought they were just gonna come back and get me, and I started doing that almost every day.
So you learned about bribery just with chocolate.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just know that he's a nice guy, and he ended up tapping me on the shoulder one day, and he said, "Stay after every teacher's class and clean up the candy wrappers."
Wow.
Done. And that was my whole thing in the entrepreneurship. But that was just, that's just selling candy and stuff. Okay. Now when I got into the Air Force and stuff, I realized, look, a business owner is a leader.
Right.
And before I could be a good leader, I need to be a good follower. And I felt like I felt like a daggone Mustang. I'll listen to anybody, but I just didn't want to. And it wasn't that I was just so big headed that I did, like, you know, if you're going to lead me, you better know what the hell you're talking about,
Right.
because I'm not going to have a blind leading the blind. And,
Right.
and I can't know more than you. If you're trying to teach me, I'll listen. But I realized that, you know, certain things were kind of political and whatnot. I felt like something's wrong with me. I need to go somewhere where I can learn that I need to be a good follower. And I went to the military, 8 years of that. All I learned is that I really need to own my own business and
Right.
not be.
Right.
And so I got out and I was like, man, what do I need to understand for me to really do this in a big time way?
Right.
Because until you have a real business, you got a hobby. It could be a high paying hobby. It's whatever. A saying that's really, really powerful that, you know, help me understand I need to do it for real is, stop playing at what others say. Stop playing at what others think you're serious about. Okay. I have that right here so I can always see it, right? How serious are you doing what you're doing? What transforms a hobby into a business? And it's systems and it's process. And because some people, they can make it a very, very long time not having a real business. Right. If you want to actually build something, you need to have duplicatable steps that you write out and that you can delegate to other people. I realized I wasn't good at delegating.
Right.
I realized I wasn't good at the analytical writing the steps.
Shoot.
I had to.
Okay, I'm coming.
I had to bring in people that weren't like me, that had talents I didn't have, and I found a team, and then I created stuff. And when I did that, I found out real quick that I could do more and go further. You know what I mean? Like they say, you want to get somewhere fast, go by yourself.
Oh wow, okay. So I didn't realize this, guys. I don't mean to.
You want to get somewhere?
Yeah, no, I forgot that we have a dog. Well, not a dog. It's like our damn baby. His name is Kobe. He's our Siberian Husky, and he got so sick.
Where far you go? Figure out
that he's been all morning. He's been pissing blood. So we got to get him to the vet, and then Jeanette just came home, and I didn't even see my phone because I got it on silent. She's down there waiting to shoot him to the vet with me. So. I want to continue this conversation, Chris. If you can just kind of go over what you're gonna go over, and maybe in the next. Did I lose my stream? Hello, Chris, you there?
Yeah.
Did I lose Chris? Did Chris freeze?
I don't know. I'm here.
Okay, I think I just either lost Chris or he froze. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, well, I'm gonna have to. I think I lost Chris, but
you can't.
Oh, Chris, you there? Chris, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I just lost you, but I'm.
Yeah, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, if you can wrap it up in like a couple minutes, because Jeanette's downstairs with the dog in the car waiting for me to go to the vet right now. So I'm gonna get up out of here real quick. But if you can just
100%.
couple minutes,
I'll make.
Get out of here. We're gonna end it on your deal. I'm losing Chris. Are you there, Chris? You there, Chris? While waiting for Chris, I have basically keep the position. I'm sorry, guys. There's some comments in here. Thanks, Jay, for the topic. Great, Chris.
100%.
I have somebody else in here asking, basically keeping the positions. You're controlling the money and the money not controlling you. Liv says, I remember all the cinnamon sticks. That's funny. And then someone was asking, how do you guys...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. And then, maybe you could answer this question, Chris. Someone says, how do you guys find the balance where you're making good money and increasing profits every year, but keep yourself from being greedy and trying to overperform to the detriment?
Well, I mean, I guess either one of us can answer that.
Okay.
Are you there, Chris?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I keep losing you, Chris. There's something wrong. I'm sorry, Mike. There's something wrong with your thing. Yeah, there's something wrong with your stream, Chris.
Can you hear me?
We could barely hear you, but I've got to get out of here, Jeanette. I don't want to mad wife. We're gonna miss this thing. But guys, great questions. What we'll do is this is what I want to do. Because I don't think we got to everything here, and we're already a minute and 15, 16 seconds in. So if we could pick this back up, let's call this part 1 of how to be a successful entrepreneur, part 1. And I'm gonna ask Chris and Mike. Would you guys both be willing to come back on, Chris and Mike, for a part 2?
Having a good time, James. Whenever.
Okay, so Chris, would you be open to coming back to a part 2 where I'm not rushed? You there, Chris? I think I lost Chris. So I'm gonna, guys, this is gonna be part 1 of how to be a successful entrepreneur. We don't have to go back over our individual stories, but I think what I like to do is come on here and answer questions that people have, and then maybe talk about our involvement in crypto and why you're excited.
Yes.
I don't have time to do it now, but if you guys don't mind, this is going to be part 1. Let's do part 2 either later today or we'll do it tomorrow if you guys are open.
Sounds good.
Is that okay, Chris?
Yeah.
Because we got to get downstairs, and trust me, that's like having one of our babies that got to get rushed to the emergency room. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream, guys. Part 1 with Chris Moore and special guest Chris Moore and Mike Owens. How to be a successful entrepreneur. Part 2 will either be tonight or tomorrow. I will talk to them, find out what time they got. We'll either go because I do have a stream tomorrow that we're supposed to be giving away some crypto, so we can either do it tonight if you guys are available. You guys let me know. I'll contact you guys once I find out what's going on with my dog, and that we'll set it up either for tonight or tomorrow if that's okay with you guys.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
All right. Love you, brothers. I appreciate you, brothers, jumping at the last minute. Guys, I'm so sorry. I got to get out of here. Our dog's got to get to the vet. He's having literally a bad day right now. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Much love, Chris. Much love, Mike. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys for part 2 later tonight or tomorrow.
Take care.
All right, guys. Much love. Peace. All right, guys, this is your boy James, a.k.a. Six8Jay. I got to get out of here. My wife is downstairs. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll see you guys tonight or tomorrow with part 2. Until then, we'll talk to you later. Peace.